www.youtube.com/cardgamingforall. The card gamer here today with the Royal Paladin Sanctuary of Light deck. The deck which focuses a lot on super calling and power up a lot of Sanctuary of Light units. So let's go on with the deck list before I share to you guys how this deck actually works. Now first and foremost, I put in 4 copies of Great Sage of Contradiction, Giron, and then 2 copies of Shrouded Divine Knight, Garblade. Next up for the Great Trees, I have already put in 4 copies of Sanctuary of Light, Planetal Dragon. Next will be 4 copies of Sanctuary of Light, Brightness Dragon. And then for the Great Twos, I put in 4 copies of Sanctuary of Light, Determinator, 2 copies of Knight of Fragment, 2 copies of Starlight Violinist. Next will be 4 copies of Knight of Details, Cloudin. And then for the Great Ones, I put in 4 copies of Sanctuary of Light, Little Storm, 3 copies of Battle Song, Angel, 2 copies of Jewel Knight, Saber Me, 4 Perfect Guts or Nullifiers, in which 3 of them are Rainbow Guardians and 1 of them is Flash Shield Isolts, 1 copy of Sanctuary of Light, Planet Lancer as a starter. For triggers, I went on with 4 regular critical triggers, 4 stun triggers, in which those are Seeker, Bouquet, Paris, 4 heal triggers, and 4 draw triggers, in which those are Margles. Okay, let's focus on how the deck is actually composed of. Transition! Now, as aforementioned, the Sanctuary of Light subclan or archetype focuses a lot on superior calling and powering up its own kind, which are Sanctuary of Lights. Anyway, focusing on to the main unit for this deck would be the Sanctuary of Light, Planetal Dragon. Now, its limit break skill says that when this unit attacks a Vanguard, all of your Sanctuary of Light rearguards or units, not rearguards, basically both Vanguard and rearguards, gains plus 3000 power until end of the turn. So yeah, if let's say you have a full field of Sanctuary of Light units, all of your Sanctuary of Light, including Planetal Dragon, gains that plus 3000 power. And next up, its second skill says that when this unit appears on the Vanguard circle, pay 2 counterblast and superior call 1 unit with a Sanctuary of Light in its name and superior call it to the rearguard circle, and as always you shuffle your deck. So it's pretty helpful. Resembles a lot on Great Silver Wolf Garmor from TD05, which has the same skill. Appears onto the Vanguard circle, counterblast 2 and superior call a unit. But this one, superior call specifically Sanctuary of Light units. So that's the difference. And its third skill, now knowing this is a chain right unit, if you have a card named Sanctuary of Light Determinator in your soul, it gets plus 1000 power permanently. So yeah, it's a 10k base, but it will be an 11k base provided you have the specific cards in your soul. Right, next up will be the 4 copies of Sanctuary of Light, Brightness Dragon that I put in this deck. A little bit of backstory. As of the release of BT14 in English, it was originally released as a promo card upon purchasing the entire box, in which you'll either get Art A or Art B. Now, its limit break skill says that by paying 2 Counterblast and 2 Soul Blast, you will technically release a Soul Saver Dragon ability, meaning that you have to choose up to 3 of your Royal Paladin rearguards, and those units will gain plus 5000 power until end of the turn. Now, the selling point for this card is actually its second skill. By paying 1 Counterblast, choose one of your locked cards and unlock it. Pretty useful when you're up against a linked Joker deck. Yeah, neat and hefty. Okay, next will be key card will be the Sanctuary of Light Determinator. Now, knowing it's a chain ride unit, its chain ride ability says that when this unit rides a card named Sanctuary of Light, Little Storm, and you have Planet Lancer in your soul, search your deck up to 1 card with Sanctuary of Light in its name, and superior call it to the rearguard circle, and as always shuffle your deck. Now, it has the same skill as Planetal Dragon, but only useful in early game, provided you've rode past tense, you've rode onto Little Storm and also Planet Lancer to be in your soul, provided that. So yeah, it's a good early game card, but helpful to turn itself into a 12k beater upon activating Planetal Dragon's limit break skill. Alright, next key component will be my 2 copies of Knight of Fragment, in which its generation break 1 skill says that if you have 2 or more Grade 2 Rearguards. This unit gets plus 2000 power, meaning it's an 11k beater, and an additional skill which says that when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you get to counter charge 1 card and soul charge 1 card. So it's very helpful. Number 1, to replenish Brightness Dragon's requirement to do its limit break again and again for every turn. Or let's just say you misride, it's very helpful to get Planetal Dragon's Determinator inside its soul. So I don't know, Dino Fragment functionalities in this deck is for that purpose only, so it helps, it really does. Okay, next would be Starlight Violinist. Now, her skill says that when this unit is being placed onto the Vanguard or Rearguard circle, by paying 1 Counter Blast and 1 Soul Blast, you are to Superior Call 1 Grade 2 unit not named Starlight Violinist from the deck to the Rearguard, and then you shuffle your deck. It's very useful in terms of, well, when I put it, I'll make it simple. When I put it in this deck, when I played it with some of my opponents, I tend to misride. So when I misride, I won't get my benefits, my 1k permanent bonus, and also the Terminator's automatic skill. So what I did, when I misrode from Little Storm, right, Little Storm skill will trigger first, meaning you have to check top 7 cards from your deck and then Superior Ride the Terminator on top of Little Storm. Number 2, Starlight Violinist skill activates as well, meaning that after this baby's skill triggers, use Starlight Violinist skill to Superior Call another Grade 2 unit. So yeah, that's the pro part. But the con part, you get to Superior Call only a Grade 2 unit. So that stinks. Okay, now let's skip Claudine because he's not that crucial in this deck. We're gonna go to Little Storm. As I mentioned, if you misride, check the top 7 cards of your deck, Superior Ride the Terminator, provided among the 7 there is the Terminator. Otherwise, put everything back in your deck and shuffle. Pretty self-explanatory over there. Next key card would be Battle Song Angel. Now, let's just say you don't have Little Storm as your supporting Rearguard when Planetal Dragon activates. This is where Battle Song Angels help, because it turns itself into a 9k booster, or basically a 9k unit, provided you have 2 or more other Rearguards, other Grade 1 Rearguards other than itself, and it gains resist. So you are able to fend off against Kagero units, Link Joker, Narukamis, and basically anything that could tamper this baby. So it's very helpful indeed. Being a 9k booster, of course. If you want to turn it into a 9k attacker, be my guest. But usually I would use it as a booster. Now next would be Jewel Knight Saber Me. Self-explanatory. Activates your Vanguard's Limit Break 4 skill even though you have 3 or less damage. Right, the final 2 cards of this deck as a key component would be Seeker Bouquet Paris, in which if it lands a successful attack when it boosted and the attack hits the Vanguard, retire it, Superior Call a Grade 1 or less card. Meaning, what I would do, I would either Superior Call Saber Me in early game so that I would activate the Limit Break very fast and very early, or Superior Call Little Storm so that at least you will be able to help Planetal Dragon to use its Limit Break to its full potential, turning Little Storm into a 10k booster. And last but not least, I put in 4 copies of Margot because number 1, it helps me to replenish Brightness Dragon's requirements. Number 2, hey, it gives my Rearguards, or basically any of my other units, plus 3000 power until end of the turn. So I guess that covers up the key components of this deck, and let's move on to the G units. Transition! Stride Generation! Now for the G units for this deck, it does complement on what the Planetal Dragon can do, because I put in 4 copies of Great Sage of Contradiction Giron, which skill says that when this unit is being placed onto the Vanguard circle, choose up to 1 card from your hand and Superior Call it to the Rearguard circle, and then choose one of your unit, any unit at the Vanguard or Rearguard, and that unit gets plus 5000 power until end of the turn. Really, not say live up, but somehow complements what the Sanctuary of Light are made of, which is powering up a lot. Well, not that much, but hey, 5000 is still a power bonus, so give and take. Next up, I put in 2 copies of Shrouded Divine Knight Garblade, because now, as you've known, Royal Paladin is well off known to Superior Call a lot of units, so Garblade pressures your opponent to either allow you to Superior Call or defend your huge attack attempt. Now it still says that when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you are able to Spiral Call one grade 2 or higher card from your deck to your rearguard circle. Very much helpful in terms of early game pressure, because you want to fill up your field with Sanctuary of Light units, or at least an 11k attacker. So yeah, that's where Garbage comes in very handy. Now let's go on with the conclusion. And there you have it, folks, the Royal Paladin Sanctuary of Light deck. Superior calls and power ups its own units, but at least it's a permanent power up which actually helps a lot during your early game rush. So if you like this deck and you want to purchase it, links down below. I'll guide you on how to purchase it via postage and banking in and whatnot. And thanks again for watching, guys. Give it a like here and subscribe button here. As always, guys, enjoy card fighting, and as the tagline always say, stand up my Vanguard!